Hi, this is Al's Toy Shed. I'm Al, and in today's video, guys, I'm reviewing the Boba Fett TYTHON Jedi Ruins Black Series figure from Mandalorian Season 2. This is obviously right at the end of Season 2 on the Jedi Ruins. When he gets his armour back, you know, where's my armour? And sorry, that's my armour. And he gets it back. Now, it's George's review. I'm going to just touch on a few little modifications I did have to do on this guy. First off, just a quick look at the box. It's your standard Black Series box. Boba Fett, TYTHON, Jedi Ruins, The Mandalorian. So it's just your normal plastic tray. And then, not much really. Some artwork on the sides of the Boba. And then read up there if you want to pause it and have a look. And that portrait again, just larger. So it's actually a nice portrait. That black and white is not bad. Wouldn't mind that on a like a lithograph or something. Be quite cool. Anyway, enough of that. Let's go into the figure. So as you can see, he has the battle damaged armour. Obviously this is after Mando gets it off Cobb Vanth, and then he's obviously going to take it back to the armourer, but then obviously Boba says it's my armour, so, and he gets it back, and obviously he proves that he is descended from Mandalorians. He's descended from Jango, and he proves it to Mando, Din Djarin, and he lets him keep the armour. So yeah, this is a really cool figure. As you can see, really that battle. I just really like the battle damage. They did it really well, especially on the front there. They did it really well, and he's got really good, obviously the standard Black Series articulation. He's got double joints at the there, and swivel at the elbows. Same on there. Swivel wrists, and then double jointed knees. You can't really see it because of that, but he has got double jointed knees there, and up the top there, as you can see, the cut off, and he's got you know, pivoted and you know, backwards on there, and pivot side to side on his ankles and lower thighs, lower calves. So he's very well articulated, really well articulated head, you know, really well, as you can see. So you can get him in lots of cool poses. Yeah, so as you guys say, look at, so again, close up of the helmet. Now, when I started to have to do some mods, one of the things is I did a bit more silver, titanium silver on the top there, where they didn't really put any. Obviously I did use reference photos, and he's like got a lot of battle damage on the top, so I did that. And then on sort of the back of the helmet on there, I don't know if you can see where I've did it. It's a bit hard to tell the difference between their paint and my paint, because I use the same sort of silver, but like I just did a bit more on the back there. I think that's sort of me there, that paint there is me, and a bit there. Theirs is more like the big silvery blobs. Mine is more sort of like, you can see the tiny sort of dabbing with a brush, if you can see that, dry brushing. That's more me. So on the top, and then around the sides, and then the dent as well. The dent, mine, I don't know about yours, but mine the dent was not painted at all. So I had to do the dent there. And then if you go down, he's got, the shoulder pads are fine. There's just one thing, I think this has been picked up on other people. Unfortunately, when you move his arm, that moves with it. The shoulder pads should be really attached to there, on the cloth bit and not move, but Hasbro decided to actually attach them to the arms and not the arm. I don't know why they did that. All I can say is easier for manufacturing purposes, something like that. I'm not sure. And yeah, you can see. And I didn't have to do nothing to the front of the armour. That was really good and really well done on the front there, as you can see. And then the gauntlets are pretty much well painted. It's just a bit on the underside there. I had to do some dry brushing. There was no warm battle damage on there, so I had to do that. And then a bit on the underside there and there. I did a bit of dry. And then the actual hoses, if you can see that, where I've done the silver dry brushing, they were all like block white, if you can see that. And then obviously the other gauntlet, and then obviously you got the famous Mandalorian symbol, nicely weathered and done. Also, the paint on that was perfect. I didn't do anything to that. And then on this side the gauntlet is fine, but then on that side I did a bit, because there was no weathering, dry brushing there at all. So I did that side. And then on the underneath as well, if you can see that, try and get it in the light a bit more. If you can see that, I did it there as well. And then the actual barrels of the wrist blaster, they were not painted at all, so I did those, if you can see that. I did those as well. And then if we, I just forgot to say that this is obviously fully articulated, so that can come down the target finder and up again. And I did a bit of paint on there, because weirdly, mine, when I got it, it was kind of like see-through, the light would kind of shine through it, so I just did some silver paint on that to stop that happening. It's kind of weird that it was like almost see-through. It had been painted really thinly, like with really thin paint, and the light would shine through it, so I had to do that on mine. And then he's got his holster there, and then he's got the belt, is really cool. And he's got the Tuscan robes, obviously, and then this is all moves. I wish they could have done it fabric, because on the vintage collection they're doing fabric, but on these they're not. The Blackstreets are not. I think those two could have been fabric. That would have been a nice touch. It's still a really cool figure, but anyway. And then another bit I had to do, the knee pads, if I can show you. Hold on a second. Excuse me, and my in the way. So they are not painted at all. There's no weathering or dry brushing at all on the knee pads. So again, I just did a bit of silver on the knee pads, not on sort of the dart launchers, as you can see. So yeah, I did that. It's a bit of dry brushing. Stand up. And then if we go around to the back, the jetpack, a rocket pack. Now, I had to do a fair bit to this dry brushing. I mean, obviously the big blobs you see there, like there and there, and there and there, and then that stripe there, and then the bit there is obviously, that's how it comes. But all the rest of that I had to do myself. All the rest of that dry brushing that you can see, I had to do. There was none of that. I had to do all that myself. And the actual rocket nozzles come white for some reason. There's no, they come basically stock white. There's no paint on them at all. So I did those silver with a bit of black. All the paints I use are acrylic. So acrylic titanium silver and a bit of acrylic black, just to make those look, I think, a lot better. And then all that dry brushing there I did on the side myself, the silver there and there, and then on there, on the actual top there, on these two bits there at the top, they're all blue, so I painted those. and then if you can see it on the top there as well, I did all that. And then if we remove the pack carefully, now I know you don't really see it, but there's literally no dry brushing on the back plate of the armour. That's all completely stock green, so I did all that, the dry brushing. If you can see that, I did all that, and then over on the shoulders on the top as well. I did that. Yeah, so I know you don't really see it because of that, but I just wanted to do that. And also on the actual pack, I had to cut that peg down, the peg there, I had to cut that down because it doesn't fit, on mine it doesn't fit properly onto, it sort of does that, so I just took a multi-tool and just cut that down. Yours might be fine, but mine it wouldn't fit properly, so yeah, that's another mod I had to do. Dear me. There you go, put it, and as you can see, when I put it back on, that basically is flush now. But with that peg, that's too long and it doesn't fit flush. So, so yeah. And then we get to his pistol, and again, I just did, if you can see that, some dry brushing on that, some silver weathering dry brushing, because again, that's all stock one black colour, and there as well. So I did that, and then you obviously the other accessory comes with this is carbine blaster. I've done nothing to it yet, but he doesn't get focus. He doesn't really actually use that in any of the scenes when he's got the armor in Mandalorian season 2. He just uses his pistol, so he doesn't actually use his carbine blaster. So, but it's nice they obviously included that. I suppose I had to when this is apparently a deluxe figure. Hasbro for you. So this is a deluxe figure, and like the only extra accessory you get that he doesn't have in the scene in season 2 in that is that's the only extra accessory you get that he doesn't actually have in that episode is a blaster, his carbine blaster. Yeah, so anyway, let's get to the helmet off head sculpt. Now, unfortunately, he does suffer from the sort of white sort of scarry stuff look, which I'm not a massive fan of, because it does look a bit like yeah, like something on his face that's white, if you know what I mean. And yeah, I don't know how well it's picking it up, but yeah, that is, but apart from that, it's a really good likeness of Tamara Morrison. It's really pretty spot on, but just that white, I don't know how well it's picking up on camera, but in hand, that white, the white sort of chalky, whatever they use to highlight his scars. I don't know why they did that, but yeah. But at the end of the day, 90% of the time he's going to have his helmet on anyway, so it's not really a major issue. But it's one of the reasons I didn't get the previous TYTHON figure, the one where he's in the Tuscan robes before he gets the armour. I didn't get that figure because all of them that I saw, all of them had all this white crap all over their faces, and that's why I didn't pick one up, because it just looked horrible. This is actually not too bad. This is actually quite, I had to go for a few before I found a good one, obviously. And yeah, so luckily he's obviously displayed in packaging without his helmet on, so you can look to find a good one. But all the other TYTHON ones, like I say, the Jedi robe one, they were all terrible. The one where you come to the gaffy stick. I might get a vintage collection one. I'm hoping that don't have that issue with the white mess on his face. I'm trying to be friendly here. I don't want it to have this an 18 restricted video, but you know what I'm on about when I say white mess on his face. That's what it looks like. So yeah, luckily this one is still there though, but they have that this obviously I did have to go through before I found a good one, but all the TYTHON, other TYTHON ones, the Tuscan Robe gaffy stick ones, all had this really terrible white mess on his face, and that's why I didn't pick one up. Anyway, so yeah, so definitely pick this guy up, definitely 100%, get him, really cool figure. I really like the one arm, and like I say, really easy, a little bit of dry brushing here and there, just to, well, especially like the knee pads where there's no paint, and like on the back plate, and then it's really easy to touch up on the helmet, mostly on the top. Mine had no real paint on the top there, if you can see that, so really none on the top here. All that sort of middle bit had no paint, and obviously the dent was not painted on mine either, so it's really easy, bit of dry brushing. All you need is some titanium silver is what I used. But the front plate is really painted well, but then the pack needs a bit of touching up, and obviously the nozzles come completely white, and then it's up to you if you want to do a bit of dry brushing on the actual pistol. But yeah, on the whole, really great Boba Fett figure. Just that white mesh face issue, not as bad as the previous TYTHON 6-inch Jedi Robe gaffy stick ones. That was just terrible. Yeah, but still, it's still there. I don't know how well it's coming on camera, but in hand you can see it quite, you know, there's clearly white mess on, like, especially on the top scar there. On that top one, it's quite bad. Anyway, I think I've talked enough. This is nearly a 17-minute video, so stay safe, stay well, and I'll catch you next one, guys.